Podziemski goes up the floor, wants 2 for 1, changes the dribble, goes down the lane, over Gobert, it's up and good. 30-19, and Chase is rocking.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
I believe that talent shows up. I don't think you can hide it. And I think that evaluators and professional sports teams are so desperate for it that when they see it, they will actually force it onto the field of play or the court. So to be an early draft pick and not get run tells me that the organization is telling us something behind the scenes is not clicking. Now, I'm not telling you that organizations are right all the time. Obviously, mistakes get made by every single human being, including talent evaluators. But whether it's a system fit or what have you, look around, just spotlight the last 3 years in Bay Area sports. And we've heard this. We hear, why isn't Trey Lance getting a shot? Why isn't Wiseman allowed to go out there and fail? How the hell can't Kuminga get in there? Why won't the Giants call up Bart or Luciano? Like, it's a constant flow of as if the organization is trying to keep a secret from us or something. Don't tell anybody. We got this great player. Now, we don't want to play him. He's amazing. But we're going to make him pay his dues first. And then you've got the other examples, which are largely people you don't see coming nearly as much. Brock Purdy. Maybe it's Brandin Podziemski. Okay?
I love a small sample.
Well, I mean, that's why I said maybe,
right.
But that was fun. That was
great, yeah.
That was encouraging. That was interesting. And not just that he played the way he did, but that he was allowed to play for 39 minutes. That's telling you. And by the way,
they had no choice.
Well, but yes, they did. Before
you had no Steph. You had no Klay.
Right.
So what other guards do you have? You had, let me see, Chris Paul.
Corey Joseph.
Okay.
GP2.
Right. GP2's not a scorer, and Corey Joseph is not a scorer. So in terms of a guy who can actually maybe score, Podziemski was your only option. Let's see how much he plays tomorrow night.
Yeah, let's see.
You think he gets 39 minutes tomorrow night?
Why did he get 3 times as many minutes as Moody? Moody looks really good to me.
That to me is more interesting.
That's a head scratcher.
Moody to me is more in the GP2 mold.
Maybe he's more of a role guy. I get it. But what I'm saying is these teams, they're telling us what they see every day, and we rarely accept it. We go, you won't give them a chance. Oh, they're giving him a chance.
Steve Kerr hates the young players.
Not only are they giving him a chance, they are financially and professionally incentivized for these guys to go out and play well. So there is no holding them back. If they're awesome, they're out there. And Jonathan's not out there. Even on a night when you would be like, well, what the hell's getting in the way of him getting out there tonight? If you had told me before the game, Steph's out, oh, by the way, Draymond and Klay are leaving too, I'd have told you Kuminga's getting at least 28 minutes. At least 28 minutes.
If this happened a week or two ago, absolutely. He gets 28 minutes. But if you look at the way he's played over the course of the last, 7 games, 2 weeks, he's been in a big funk. And I don't think that he knows exactly what they want him to do. Maybe they've told him how they want him to play, and he's not playing that way, and that's why he's not getting the minutes. But you look at his numbers, 5 of 14, 2 of 8, 4 of 12, 2 of 7, 2 of 11. Those are the games before last night where he got 16 minutes. And that's fine. He's trying to shoot. He's trying to score. He's trying to be involved. But you look at the rebounds in those games, 3-1-4-3-3. That, to me, is the reason why he's not playing.
That's a great observation.
If you want to go out there and shoot the ball between 9 and 13 times, go ahead, Jonathan Kuminga. We want you to be aggressive, rim run, attack the basket, shoot the 3 when you're open. But go out there and get me 7 or 8 rebounds. And he has gotten 7 rebounds 0 times this year. He opened up the season getting 6 boards in 20 minutes against Phoenix. Then he got 5. And since then, he's gotten 2, 1. One game he had 4 rebounds in 19 minutes. He is not doing what they want him to do, which is rebound, defend, and be aggressive.
You did say one thing, actually, that you said go ahead and shoot the three. I'd rather you didn't.
When you're open.
Nah.
A shot created must be taken.
Well, listen, if it ends up that way late in the shot clock, I guess fire away.
He's 0 for his last 9.
He's 1
for his last 15.
He's 4 for 23 for the year.
Yeah.
He's not a good three-point shooter. Like, one of the questions I have about Jonathan Kuminga is, what is it that he does really well? And I think I can answer the question. There's two things that have him actually, this might surprise people if you haven't been looking at all the Warriors' numbers, and it's crazy, quite frankly. He's their third leading scorer this year.
Wow.
Behind Steph and Klay at 11.5 points a game. That's their third leading scorer right now. It's Jonathan Kuminga. So what does he do well? Well, I think there are two things. He's able to finish lobs. He's a leaper, great athlete, right? And the second thing he can kind of do is get to the line because of that athleticism. Now, not necessarily great at converting those free throws. Not a disaster either, 68%.
For his career, 75 this year.
Correct. 74.5. That's passable, especially for a big guy.
For sure.
That's very, very possible. I do think that there is an inordinate number of those misses come in clutch spots. As Ramona pointed out in that game against Phoenix, it seems to be something he does better early in games than late. And okay, but you live with the free throw percentage for sure. Yeah. But those are the two things right now that he does really well. And that's not enough. That's not enough.
Well, what you really need him to do is defend and rebound.
Correct.
And, what he can do in terms of getting to the foul line, he does a very good job of that. Getting to the foul line, and you'll take 75%. And, yeah, you're going to have some misses late in games, and you live with that. He's 21. He's a third-year player. He has not yet completely developed his game. He's not a guy with a long history of high school and college basketball. He came in the league as a very raw talent, and you have to play him in order to get him to be better. But the things that he's not doing are things that shouldn't be able to be taught. And that's where you watch Podziemski yesterday, the aggressiveness, the willingness to stick his nose in there. And I know it's a very small sample, and I'm not ready to go head over heels for Pods and put him in the rotation and give him starts and all the rest of it. Although Steve Kerr had some great comments last night about Podziemski.
He did.
Pre-game comments.
Before the game,
then he backed him up.
And by the way,
he backed him up after basically saying, this dude's going to play.
That's relevant, don't you think? That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, before you even knew that Draymond and Klay were going to miss the game.
Yeah.
Steve's over here going, Podziemski, he's cocky. I love him. He's a really good player. And then he put him out there, and he had the second highest point total of any player, the highest point total of anyone not named Steph this entire year.
He's the first one not named Steph to lead the team in scoring in the game.
So here he is talking about this before the game. Then he goes out there and makes a truth teller out of Steve with his play, and all of that is happening before Klay and Draymond are out. Then Klay and Draymond are out, and they're still not pointing at Kuminga. And I'm just like, I don't know how to make that not a message as a fan base. Forget what I see or you see or what we want.
Right.
They are telling you that they don't love it right now. And I'll echo this because, dude, on YouTube, that's literally his name. Dude, bunch of U's. He just wrote on YouTube something that went through my head while you were talking. You just described Kuminga, and he goes, Dibs just described James Wiseman. And Trey Lance, I'll add. It's the same thing that we said about those two players. Raw, young, got to let them play.
Yeah.
Then once you play, they're not going to do that. They're just not. They would do that if we were the Portland Blazers and we were all ticketed for the 13 seed, but they're not going to do it. And we know how those two situations ended. I'm not saying he's going to be gone by midseason.
Of course.
I'm just saying that if you are a big fan of this player, there's no way you can feel comfortable right now with what you're seeing. And the organization is not, quote unquote, holding him back.
No, they're not.
He's holding himself back. They don't like something that they see.
They're giving him opportunities, and he is not taking advantage of the opportunities. You mentioned the 3-point shooting percentage, and I'm looking right now at his game log, and he has missed 9 in a row over 5 games. You have to go back to November 5th, the last time he made a 3, 10 days. And, okay, he's not a 3-point shooter, And when he's only shooting 1-3 a game for the most part, 1 or 2, occasionally he'll shoot 3. I don't mind that. If you're open and the ball comes to you, you got to shoot the 3. Now, hopefully his 3-point percentage goes up. I would expect that it will. That's not the issue. I look at the rebounds. And when you are that athletic and you're playing that spot, especially on this team, where you might be on the floor with 6', 38-year-old Chris Paul, not a rebounder, 6'3" Steph Curry, good rebounder.
For his size, yes.
But, I mean, he puts his mind to it. Podziemski had 7 rebounds last night.
Yep.
You've got a team that is desperate for another rebounder, and you're a leaper, and you play small forward, and you play power forward, and Andrew Wiggins, God love him, he doesn't rebound. So if you're Jonathan Kuminga, the one thing that you need to do, the one thing that you can do to earn your minutes is rebound. And that's where James Wiseman never was able to kind of figure it out. The one thing that he could have done to earn his keep would be protect the rim and rebound. And, shot block and rebound.
And understand the defensive rotation.
Fine, he couldn't do any of it. And I think Kuminga is a good, solid on-ball defender. Off the ball, he's still learning the rotations, and he's still figuring out where he should be. But rebounding and effort, that's where he's obviously not. He's not getting it done because you mentioned it, Mark. He played 16 minutes last night in a game where you didn't have your top 3 guys.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
957-957. Let's hear from you, okay? Daquan in Oakland. You're on with Willard and Dibs. Hey, Daquan, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, you guys? How's it going today?
Good.
Daquan?
Oh, yeah. On the way home from work, man. I just wanted to, this is just a quick situation for you guys to talk about. I was just thinking, I saw Zach LaVine, kind of not happy in Chicago. I think we should actually trade those 2 guys and try to get Zach LaVine some kind of help.
You talking about Kuminga and Wiggins?
Yeah.
I have this sort of like immediate. It's not that it's a crazy thought, Daquan. Thanks. It's just that we're 12 games in, and we're already talking about some sort of a high-priced acquisition, and now you're rebooting again. Now you're rebooting everything that you do again. And okay, who's in the starting lineup, and who's in the second unit, and who unlocks who? It's not a crazy thought, but by the same token, I don't know that that's what Chicago wants. Number one, and I don't know that it actually makes the Warriors immediately better. I know you're searching for a second scorer, so I understand the thought process, but that does not feel like something that's going to happen.
I can't see it, and I'll think about it from Chicago's standpoint. So you've got Zach LaVine, and maybe he's not a fit, and you are looking to maybe shop him, and you look at the Warriors, and it's Andrew Wiggins, who will then be on his, 4th team. And, you look at Wiggins and you think, well, why would they want to get rid of him? And you look at Jonathan Kuminga and you see a project who, if the Warriors gave up on Jordan Poole, and we've seen what he's done, and I don't know if you saw the viral video of his behavior during timeouts, where he's got his back to the huddle and coaches are like, dude, the play.
Jordan Poole's a problem. He's just a problem. I don't
want to get bogged down in the Jordan Poole conversation. I'm just using this as an example.
Nothing to do with
if I'm Chicago and they traded James Wiseman, who can't play in Detroit, and you trade Jordan Poole, who is devolving in Washington, and now a team's going to give up, quote unquote, on Jonathan Kuminga, and I'm going to think that he's some sort of an asset.
We also look at all these things like it's fantasy basketball, and we forget to look at the finances. So not everybody, but a lot of Warrior fans want Klay Thompson to stay. Draymond's already staying. You've already got Steph long-term. Now there's the Wiggins contract, which is smaller, and Kuminga, who's had an option picked up, but there's a ton of flexibility there. Want to know what you're doing if you acquire Zach LaVine?
I'm just looking right now, Mark.
Anybody want to know about the $40 million this year?
Yeah.
The $43 million next year. The $46 million the year after that.
Yeah, you rounded up.
And then the player option for $49.
48.967
in 26-27. So if you want that contract,
hey Joe.
Go ahead and get him. That Klay Thompson. That's the end of that.
Gone.
And quite frankly, that's the end of any potential flexibility that you might gather in the next 4 years as well.
And I don't even think that the Wiggins and Kuminga combo would work in the trade machine, if he's making 40, Wiggins only makes like 24, and Kuminga's making like 6.
Right.
So I think you may have to throw. You may have to throw in a Guy Santos
Moody
or something. Who
and,
knows?
yeah, throw some more in.
That's going to be a no from me, dog.
It's going to be a no from everybody, dog.
And I'm thinking in terms of Joe Lacob, who wants to get below the second apron. And even if you do that, does that make you appreciably better? Offensively, yeah. But the highlights.
Yeah.
But defensively, you're no better.
No.
The only real fix to what ails this team, other than getting somebody to score other than Steph, is, hey, Wiggins, play better. And hey, Kuminga, this is what we need you to do. Kuminga's got to be better, and Wiggins has to be better. We talked about it in the summit. What are the big keys to this team maybe being a championship outfit? And all of us on the panel, it was either Wiggins or it was Kuminga.
Totally.
I think we were split. Half of us thought it was Wiggins, half thought Kuminga. I was team Kuminga, thinking that, Wiggins is going to Wiggins, and he hasn't even Wiggins.
He hasn't Wigginsed.
No, but if Kuminga can be, and I think I said 16-7 was the numbers that I threw out there.
Yeah,
right now he's like 11-2.
No matter who you pointed at, you're not getting what the Warriors wanted out of those players.
Either of the two.
You're not getting it. And here's the other thing. I know people will go, Mark, he's only 21. All right, that's true. Now look at it through this lens, because you just said something interesting. You said he's not being the player they want him to be. I know he's 21. He's also been there for 3 years of the Warriors telling him who they want him to be, and 3 years in, he hasn't been able to do it yet. That's a long time. I don't care how old he is. I get that he's raw and young. That's all fine. But there are plenty of 21 and 22-year-olds doing great things in professional sports and handling coaching and therefore evolving and becoming what that team needs them to be. It's year 3, and based on what they're telling us and doing with their actions, they're not seeing what they want to see. And that's why I say, if you're a fan of Kuminga, you cannot be happy right now with what you're seeing. Derek in Fairfield next on Willard and Dibs. Hi, Derek. What's up?
Hey, how you guys doing? Thanks for having me. A couple things. That guy must have been a Zach LaVine fan, because Zach LaVine found the answer. We need a big guy. We need a big guy. That's what we're missing, right? But on the other note, Kuminga is like, what do we expect? We expect he's going to give us 20 and 10 right now? Because he's not. And the way we're built right now, without a big man, he's playing out of position. You seen it last night. He was just undersized playing against the Towns and the Nazi Reeds, right? And he's in a slump. We need rebounds for sure, but who we need to hold accountable is Chris Paul. Like, he's the veteran leader out there when the big three are out, right? He's coming off screens open in the middle of the lane. What happened to the floater? Like, what happened to the high off the glass layup? Instead of kicking it out, we're down 1. Worst case scenario, you get to the free throw line. But you got to stop being so passive.
I think I can answer it, Derek. I really do. And I understand everything you're saying. You have some good basketball takes. But when you say, hey, Chris Paul, what happened to your this, that, or the other, it retired. He's 38. And this is one of the things that I said when they were talking about getting him. Like, if you thought you were acquiring the Chris Paul that you've watched for the last 20 years, you're not. He's an adult. He's an organizer. He cannot turn the ball over. He's a good passer. He's super smart. If you thought you were getting a scorer, he's not here anymore. That guy's retired. He's 38 years old. And if we're 12 games in going, Chris Paul, come save us in the box score, well, we're up a creek.
I think Chris Paul is playing exactly how I thought he would play.
Exactly. I agree with you.
I think Chris Paul he's been great based on my expectations. He's been, and I use the phrase, a trapper keeper. For those of us who remember when the Trapper Keeper came out, when you had that binder and that had the folders in there.
Oh, yeah.
You throw your peachy folders in there.
I knew I was going to get a peachy.
You had to get a peachy. That's what he is. He's an organizer. And Ramona Shelburne, who joined us last hour, was breaking that down, and she's exactly right. He's not going to get you 17. I mean, he might as a one-off, but in general, He's going to be a double single. He's going to be 8 or 9 and 8 or 9 with maybe 1 or 2 turnovers. And that's what you get. Now, last night, could he have gone to the teardrop? Yes. Could he have not kicked it out? I mean, he made a couple of late game decisions that didn't work out.
Totally.
That's a game, though, that would have been an absolute steal. If they would have beaten Minnesota without Draymond, Klay, and Steph, it would have been a steal. I want to go back to your earlier point about Kuminga at 21.
Yes.
Because I just did the quick math. Do you know how many players in the association are 21 years of age or younger? Players who have played this year.
I would imagine very few.
69.
Oh, wow. That's more
than you think.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, some of these guys are, barely playing. Gregory Jackson II played 1 game in 1 minute. He's 19.
Right.
But when you look at some of the names, Wembanyama is 20, and Jabari Smith Jr. is 20. Shaden Sharp is 20. Keontae George is 20. Jalen Duran is 20. There are enough guys around the league that bolsters your point, Mark, about not using Kuminga's age in his 3rd year as the ultimate crutch. The Thompson twins, shout out Thompson twins, Asar and Amen, both rookies, they're 21. And I know they had more experience at the lower level, but they've hit the ground running. Point being, Kuminga in his 3rd year should be earning more minutes, and he should be doing more of the things that some of his younger compatriots are doing.
Well, and those compatriots may not have also been in the league as long as Jonathan has.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That's like that. I get that he's 20.
And in this system, too.
Yes, he's 21 and he's raw, and that's totally fair. Like, yes, the Warriors knew they were taking on a little bit of a project when they got him. Yes, the Niners knew they were taking a little bit of a project with Trey Lance. That factors all into it. But once somebody has been in a system for 3 years, then the organization is going to start sending you, the fan, a message. And the message is he getting it behind the scenes or not? And the message I'm starting to get with Jonathan Kuminga, the same message that we were starting to get with Trey and James Wiseman, which is that he's not getting it. He's not doing what we want to see. So that doesn't mean his career is over. It doesn't mean he's in the right spot. That's like the whole Brock Purdy system quarterback conversation that we have. You also need to be in the right spot. I'm not here to crush a 21-year-old kid who has played a relatively short career in terms of minutes so far. I'm here to tell you that you cannot love what you're seeing. This is not what they envisioned for him, and they're sending you a message, which is right now. It's the same thing I used to say about Trey. You can say whatever you want, but right now he's not where they wanted him to be.
Right.
I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair.
And you're seeing it in his minutes allocation,
yes.
And you're seeing it especially on a night like last night where the guy who plays ahead of him in many ways, Draymond Green, was not on the floor. And Andrew Wiggins, another guy who plays in front of him as a small forward, hasn't been good. And yet he hasn't played well enough to where he's taking those minutes.